Welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is BSL 18 Hasuleague round of 30, or sorry, round of 4. I'm not sure why I wanted to say 32 there. Out to Shambler on YouTube land U, and upper left hand corner we got Kiko starting as the red Terran, bottom right hand corner we got Rotj starting as the yellow Protoss, and thus far Rotj has just really been controlling the mid to late game through strong macro play. Kiko has done pretty well moving out here, macroing up in pieces, but seems like somewhere around the later stages of the match, Rotj's macro is just outpacing Kiko. And the engagements, despite a lot of these engagements, honestly, not doing too terrible for Kiko. Rotj having a lot of success overall. And this time we might see the dreaded cross-spawn 12 Nexus, which could, well, we'll have to see. So Rotj is dropping the pylon at the natural expansion, is pulling the probe back. This is usually this pylon down here is indicative that that is going to be the play, and that's going to put Kiko in a really tough spot to start off, unless Kiko opposite end opts to go for a rapid command center as well. But it's not always guaranteed. We might see a gateway down here, and we do see a probe making its way, and we are going to see in fact a gateway first. So ignore. No need to panic. We're not seeing it. This could be gateway into expand. The gateway on the low ground, this leaves a little bit more exposed and honestly a little bit more vulnerable to earlier factory play. You can see where mines out on the corner here can intercept and create some more damage earlier, which is oftentimes why you want the gateway up the ramp, is so they're a little bit, the units are in a little bit more defensible position rather than spawning right on top of vultures, something along those lines. But having the gateway at the lower position does buy 2 or 3 seconds as far as early zealot pressure, potentially. Usually if you're doing that though, you usually want it proxied, like a proxy 1 gate. So I have a feeling this is still going to be an attempt of gateway into expand, and Rotj going for the earlier scout for that precise reason. So he's going to come across Kiko's base, going for a little bit, well, never mind. Turning around, doing some damage on that SCV rather than getting the initial scouting information. We do have an initial investment in Zealot and an assimilator, but for whatever reason, not wanting to go for the initial information there. And Kiko looks like Kiko might be setting up for a front door seal, which would easily combat any sort of initial Zealot pressure. So the probe waiting on the ramp is going to make its way up. The Marine's already there to go ahead and box it out. And honestly, looking at the barracks positioning and that supply depot along the way, I would actually leave the Zealot in more a defensive slot and play from there. We have the cybernetics core building behind it. But Rotj still wanting to... So we have an SCV waiting on the corner. We've got 2 Marines out. So it's going to be 2 Marines versus potentially a probe and a Zealot. That's going to be a tough push, and a second Zealot on the way. And all 3 pylons down. Kiko getting boxed out a little bit, though, as far as the additional scouting information. So it's going to be initial Zealot pressure. A factory's already on the way. The Zealot getting rejected really rapidly, and honestly, with that second Zealot invested, ooh, double factory from Kiko as well. This could be really painful for Rotj as far as a game state, because we got a 2 factory opening here from Kiko. I was so fixated here on the ramp and the initial Zealot pressure potentially I neglected to see. And we're going machine shop first and a 4th Marine. So this is going to be plenty to potentially combat these Zealots. And there's going to be follow-up vultures potentially as well, but there is this window here where the machine shop's going down and there's no initial vulture. And so a potential shove could be dangerous. And we got a Dragoon coming out as well. So this is going to be interesting. This could honestly, with the initial units across the map, this could go either way, depending on engagement. So we got, although they need to be grouped up, it looks like 2 probes returning back to home base. Kiko still has the scouting information, but the 2 Zealots and the Dragoon at ramp side, one of the Marines getting stranded a little bit. It is going to be 5 Marines on the high ground, but the 5 Marines very, very close to the Zealots. And now they're taking a lot of initial damage. It's going to be a minute before that initial siege tanks come out. And the Marines taking a lot of damage, and they're not going to be able to escape through the side point. Now does that siege tank get absolutely lambasted by that Dragoon, or is it able to... And unfortunately, it was double machine shop and no vulture in between. So it's going to come down to, can this SCV repair... Can these SCVs repair these tanks? And does the Dragoon get scattered off? And where's the follow-up pressure? If Kiko can hold this and keep that... let's keep the siege tank alive. Not able to keep that initial siege tank alive. Second Dragoon actually up in the base, but the Dragoon not active here. If he can just keep pumping units, he might end up in an okay scenario, but right now Rotj has a full base breach, and this is a do or die game 3. And Marines are dying as they're spawning. Siege tank out. The SCVs do need to pull to protect it. And unfortunately, oh, that siege tank got popped, and an additional siege tank was delayed. And Rotj going for an expansion behind this. So things, oh man. So things just not working out for Kiko. Kiko going a little bit, cutting a couple corners here. Wanting to have a more powerful push. And cutting out, and there's GG. Oh, that's rough. Yeah, we're going to do a rewind to extend this a little bit here. But some key moments. First of all, is one, Kiko, that's not where we want to be. Get further down. One, right here, you're going to see, rather than initial vulture, you got the machine shop dropped. And Kiko removes the defensive SCV on the line. If the defensive SCV was still here, I guess didn't expect the delayed pressure from Rotj. So Rotj pulling back. But here's the other thing is if this had gone, if that defensive SCV was still standing. Oh, and that's unfortunate. Just really wasn't expecting a 2 Zealot Dragoon. Didn't keep an eye out as far as the units that were flooding across and all that scouting pattern. So now this is a scary scenario where if that defensive SCV had held the line, this would have been Zealots and running into the SCV with high ground. That would have been a lot of shred damage on any of these guys, which maybe could have turned the tide. The siege tank, if there had been an SCV pull right here, the siege tank might have been a better scenario, or maybe if the Marines had gone for a straight run to the SCV line as well. But nothing working out for Kiko right here, so it's going to be a quick 3-0 sweep. That was at cross position too. So unfortunate. Great play from Rotj, applying early pressure and just able to sneak right up there and get on top of his opponent and close the series out. So he's moving on to the finals. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.